You know, 2020 has really impacted a lot of us in many different ways. A lot of people are feeling and just really wondering, how are we going to financially survive all of this and all the losses that we've been going through, and at the same time maintain some hope and a fresh start for a better 2021?
So for more on how to start the year with a clean financial slate, we're joined by financial professional Brian Levy from BML Wealth Management. Brian, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you. You know, you have 4 pieces of advice for people looking to improve their money situation in the new year. But first, you say it kind of starts with cutting costs where you can.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first place, is to start taking inventory. You know, one of the great places to start cutting costs, I know for me, are those subscription services, right? We always forget kind of that $10 a month, $20 a month payment. And that's the first place you want to start and look, is take inventory of, hey, what am I paying for that I'm not really using? Because that starts to add up. So cutting costs is a great exercise to do kind of at the year end.
All right, once we cut all the costs, we have to find ways to make some money.
Yeah, that's a good one. Always making money is good. You know, we're sitting at about 8% unemployment here in California today, which is actually creeping down a little bit, which is good. We're seeing a lot of people start businesses during this pandemic this year. So a lot of people are doing at-home businesses. We see a lot of Etsy businesses. So people are being creative to make some money on the side. And I think there's 2 ways to do it. You either cut costs or bring in more money. And those are obviously key things to do right now.
Sometimes, and in many occasions and situations, there isn't a lot of space and wiggle room in terms of saving money right now, especially during the holidays. We have a lot of expenses. But you also advise that at some point start building that 6-month emergency fund. What exactly do you mean by that, and how do we know how much that is?
Yeah, so that's a big one. That's super critical. You know, let's just say this, over half of the people, 53% of this country, have no emergency fund built up. And I think a lot of people have felt that right now. So we've been in this pandemic, over 9 months. We're advocates of having anywhere between a 6 to 12 month sort of bucket of money saved up, an emergency fund, that if you needed to tap into it during a hard time, the money's going to be there. And there's no better example than what we saw over this last year.
And we know, Brian, lastly, you know, you had a plan for taxes this year.
Yeah, you know, I don't think any of us love paying taxes, but, you know, a couple key points. I call it sort of the year-end checklist when it comes to tax planning. The first thing everybody listening should know is unemployment benefits are not taxable state in California, but they're taxed federally. So make sure to plan for that. But the year-end checklist, I always talk about maxing out your retirement accounts, making sure you're putting as much as you can in to basically grow your money towards retirement. If you have a health savings account, make sure you're putting money in there. Go get your tax deductions where you can. Give to charity if possible. Also, this year's a great year to look at Roth conversions. Maybe your income is a little bit lower this year. Pay the tax today so you have tax-free earnings later. And the last thing I'll mention for parents, if you have money in an FSA, a flexible spending account, make sure you spend it before the end of the year, because most of you can't carry over your balances to the following year.
So much good advice there. Brian Levy from BML Wealth Management. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. We appreciate your advice.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.